Good morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. I am going to try for the first time, haven't done this before, to go live in three places. Three places. I've never done this before, but thank you to modern technology and StreamYard specifically. I'm able to go live on Facebook, on YouTube, and for the first time on Instagram. So hello, welcome everybody out there, all you creative chicks. We are going to do some creating. I have all kinds of stuff on my table here. I really want to work with this. This is America the Beautiful. I feel like even though 4th of July has passed, this was a monthly kit for some of my crafty chicks who enroll in that kit. And I feel like this, even though, of course, this would be appropriate for 4th of July, this definitely, to me, because I have some patriotic themes in my home, this can be used year round. Now, I'm not going to be decorating for my home with this. We are going to do some paper crafting today. And my goal is to make some decorative papers for junk journals, for future junk journals. So that's my goal today. I got a bunch of pastes picked out. We'll talk about those in a minute. I've got some other transfer designs picked out. Talk about those in a minute. And I have close by this box. You guys know I use this bin system to organize myself. And these are my coffee stained papers. And they're not all just standard paper. Some are doilies, some are envelopes, some are like phone book pages, time cards. It's like there's like decorative scrapbook paper back here that has been coffee stained. So I'm going to be pulling from this stash. I'm going to put it behind me just for the sake of room on the table. I'm going to be pulling from that stash and using the transfers, the pastes, the papers, and some watercolors to create. So if you're interested in what the heck's going on here, which I hope you are, please join me. Say hello when you get here. Let me know where you're coming in from. Actually, wait a minute. You don't even need to do that. I think I can see that. Leslie, hello. Oh, I don't know why. I don't know why that would be. Leslie's saying YouTube isn't playing. It's showing for me. It's showing that it is playing, Leslie. It may have just been a delay in showing up. So if you I can see you're here on Facebook, Leslie, but if you really want to watch over YouTube, go for it. Like if you prefer that channel, go for it. Hello, Miss Vicky. Oh, she says, okay, it's working now. Yeah, I think it's just a delay. I think sometimes there's just a delay. Good morning, Joyce. Here's my local friend, Paula. Hoping to see you tonight for Girls Night Out. Lisa's here. Joy is here. So I don't see anybody yet interesting from either YouTube or Instagram, but that's okay. This is my first time I'm doing Instagram. So I was just curious to see how this all worked through StreamYard. Okay. I want to very subtly put this on the background of some pages for junk journals. Okay. This was my inspiration. I just got this one. But then I thought, well, since I'm going to be doing this, maybe grab some other patterned transfers or one because, you know, a brick is always kind of cool to have in the background. And then I was just going for my patterned transfers. Like this one has some beautiful pattern to it. I'm going to put it up real close so you can see. Right? These would just be really pretty in the background of a junk journal. So this one, if you're wondering, it's called Bold Patterns. But then, you know, we have, Couture has patterned designs, and then we have some that are a mix. Like this one's an older transfer, and it's the butterflies, but it also has this postage stamp. You can see I used it with some script, and then it has, this big script here. Right? So there are other stencils that you can use or transfers that you can use that have things that you could embed on the background of your papers. Now, you could also use stamps. You can also use embossing techniques. There's all kinds of ways that you can decorate your junk journal pages. But tonight or today, we are going to use some transfers, some watercolors. So let me grab, I'm going to put these aside because these will go after the watercolors. All right. So I'm going to grab this and we're going to pull out some papers. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Hey, Lori, welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks for the little heart. That was really sweet of you. Emoji heart. Heart's back at you, friend. Okay, so why will I do the watercolors first, pastes second? Does anybody know? This is, if you don't know, it's not a problem, but I'm just wondering, does anybody know? These are the paste colors that I chose. There's one shimmer, this one, it's champagne, and I just think that would be really pretty in the background and very subtle, right, on coffee stained paper. Here's a piece of coffee stained paper. We're going to put a little stuff in the background. So let me grab, that's a legal size sheet. So let me grab a few of those first. I don't actually have a plan for how many pages I'll get through. This is coffee stained. See the difference? This is white, much whiter, and it has coffee stained around the edges and then like the coffee mug stain on it. This one is fully coffee stained, and it actually already has some stenciling on it. When I coffee stained that paper, I laid some stencils down on it. So it already has a little bit of patterning. And here I have some metallic. I think I put some metallic sprays down on that coffee stain process. And so I have a little bit of metallic already on there, which is gorgeous. I love this. Looks like seepage to me. Seepage marks, love them. So these are very different, but they're both coffee stained. So let's grab those two. And then let me just grab one kind of in the middle where it's not so dark, not so white. You can see that one has a bunch of markings. So we have 3 pieces of that. I'm just going to randomly pick. Let me grab, because I would love to grab at least one piece of decorative scrapbook paper that has been stained. It has some copper metallic, it has yellow, and it has blue sprays on it, as well as coffee staining, right? So already that to me is a perfect junk journal page with a little, you imagine if I fold this over and I sew it into a book, I have a decorative side and a plain side, but not plain white. I really do not like just plain white pages in my junk journals. I like them to have a little something on it, even if it's just a little something like that. We're just going to add to that. So let's grab that one. Good morning, Debbie. Hello, hello. Yes, Debbie's right. So Debbie said, hey, Andrea. Lori, I see you, Lori Wallace. Debbie said the pastes are water soluble and can't paint over them. Well, you can't use anything water-based on them if you don't top coat them, okay? These are erasable pastes meant to be used on chalkboards. That was the original intent of these 7 years ago when the company started, Couture. The original intent was to use these continuously with the transfer designs to decorate and then redecorate your chalkboards. So it is washable or water soluble. So you can wash it off of chalkboards or anything non-porous. You can wash it off a mirror. You can wash it off of glass. You can wash it off of really hard plastics. Anything that is non-porous, you can wash this off of. Water soluble. When it gets wet, it is going to run. It's going to move around on you unless you put a solid top coat on it, like a Mod Podge. I don't plan on putting any top coats today. So if I want to add a little bit more color to my pages, I'm going to use some watercolors because I can get a really watered down subtle color with these and control it more easily than a spray. But I'll have to do that before I put this down, because if I put this down first and then take a watercolor to it, it's going to smear my designs with the chalk base. So Debbie, winner, winner, chicken dinner. You are right. You are totally right, friend, about that. Vicki, thank you, friend. She's sprinkling. Thank you for sprinkling. Thank you for sending this out there in the world and helping me meet new people. That is really super helpful to all of us who are creating content for you guys to enjoy. So if you ever see anybody, I don't care if it's a chef, if it's a fitness guru, if it's just a family you follow, and if you don't have a way to support them otherwise, a really good and free way to support them is to share the content elsewhere. Okay, I've got some coffee stained coffee filters flattened out. That's all that is. Let's grab a couple of these. We're just going to decorate them. I'm going to grab a doily or two. Oh, that one's ripped. That's okay. I'm going to use, you know what I'll do with that stinker? So it doesn't fall apart on us. Let me grab my tape that we made in the Craft America Club. Where are you, tape? Oh, good gravy, you guys. If I could keep track of anything in this space, it would be a dang miracle. Tape, where are you? I'm looking for you. Hold on, girls. I was hoping to use my tapes, but now I don't know where I put them. Oh my word. Does that ever happen to you? I think I've been spending, a little bit, oh, I see, a little bit more time in my craft space, but I feel like I have to get to know it all again. Okay. We made these vintage type, old looking tapes for my junk journals, and this is a perfect reason to use it. So I'm just going to tape that together, and let's just use, I need a piece about that big. I'm just going to cut this one. Whoops, I just tore it on that side. It's best if you use these, make them in small batches and use them right away, because I think eventually, they get a little more fragile as they sit and aren't getting used. But isn't that pretty? I used some metallic, I know that's hard to see with the glare. Metallic coppery. It's gonna go here. Will that fit from there to there? Yes, it will. To really make sure that this stays down, I'm gonna put a little more glue on it. Hey, Debbie Fritz. Hey, Shelby. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Fran. What's everybody up to today? What you doing? What you doing with this summer day? It's going to be close to 90 here, which is almost unheard of here in North Dakota. It's going to be hot. I said to my husband, who runs a landscape company, I do think about our guys. I mean, the gals work in the office. This is just the way it is. I'm not like saying a statement here. This isn't a political statement. We have 3 gals that work in the office. One of them works in the yard as well. She helps out in the landscaping yard, selling, mulch and block and things like that. And then the men, we have a lot of men who work labor with us for landscaping. And on days like this, they're laying 22 pallets of sod today, and it's going to be close to 90. I said to my husband, I hope they have lots of water on hand. My son has been working with my husband this summer, and he was laying sod yesterday, and he said that the prime contractor came out with 2 cases of water and made sure they were taking breaks every hour to rehydrate. Okay, cute, right? It just makes it more grungy, more junky, more vintage, if that's the look that you like. I kind of go back and forth. I do love this. I really love grungy a whole lot, but every once in a while I like to do something bright, so it's not grungy. I'll show you an example. Let me show you an example. The book that I've been using most recently on a regular basis that's not grungy, oh, sorry for all the ruckus, is my daily junk journal that I made out of a gift bag. See? Bright colors, bright papers, nothing vintagey in here. I'm almost at the end of this book. I have just a couple pages left to fill. And I've been using it to keepsake, just daily ephemera, things that, like, that butter container was so cute. I'm like, I gotta put it in my journal. I don't know why. It's just because it made me happy. Tea bag, a new tea that I bought, and I'm like, I'm gonna try this tea. Love it. Putting it in there. Picture of my son and his girlfriend after they came back from Anaheim. They went to Anaheim for an international DECA conference in April. So I put the map. I put them in there. Movie tickets. This little note from my son. We sent him to the butcher shop to get meat. And this was his handwriting of his trip to the butcher shop when we said, okay, get this, get this, get this. He wrote his own note, put it in there because I am a sentimental fool. But this is my daily keepsake journal, and it is bright. See the difference? Bright, fun, more modern, or vintage. Do you have a preference? I would love to know. Tell me in the comments whether you're here live or on replay. Do you like one more than the other? Do you create with one more than the other? I would love to know. I would love to know. That cow, isn't it cute, Debbie? It's from a stinking butter container. Oh my gosh, that's a ton of work, right, Debbie? She's saying it's a ton of work. Laying sod. I always, in the weather, whether it's winter or whether it's summer, I'm going to take my sweater off, speaking of warm. Winter or summer, doesn't matter to me. I still think about those who have to work outdoors, whether it be linemen, firemen, and women, boardwalk crossings at the schools when it's cold, bitter cold, with like here in North Dakota when the wind chill gets bad. or if it's like super warm, I always think of first responders, you know, all those folks who have to work outside. And I usually say a little prayer that they stay healthy and comfortable and, you know, that things go well. Okay, we're going to start. Just plain, this is an old calendar. When I tear these off, like the wall calendar, when I tear them off the wall, I save them to use as backdrops for messy jobs like this. So that's what these are. I'm going to actually spread it out a little more. I don't see anybody from Instagram. This is an experiment. I don't even know if it's working on Instagram. I don't use Instagram a whole lot, to be honest with you. My kids use it all the time. And I feel like for me, it feels like unknown territory and just uncomfortable because I don't know it that well. It's not that I don't like Instagram. I shouldn't say I don't like it. I just don't know it that well. Okay, taping them together so they don't wiggle waddle on me. All right, we're just going to lay some of these things out. These are coffee stained time cards. Oh, I think there's 2 there. Some of them, like I said, I already stenciled on. When I coffee stain it, I coffee stain it, and sometimes I lay stencils in between and put a metallic spray before I do the next layer, and that gives me that really cool effect. This one I didn't use metallic, but I still have that diamond. So I'm looking, all right, let's do the plain side. This already has a leaf on it, like a stenciled leaf, and here it has a stencil. So actually, I might add some color to that one, but I won't be doing any. These already have some patterns on them. This is what I'm trying to achieve. So these I might add a little color, but I won't be doing any chalk couture on them because they already have patterns. Let's work on the plain side. If one has pattern and one doesn't, we're going to flip it so that this one has just little polka dots on it. Really hard to see, but they are there. Okay, that's pretty full. That space is pretty full, so I won't add any more, but let's just get out my watercolors. And we're just going to smear on a little bit of color. I'm not going for anything particular here in terms of color. I need a watercolor brush and my spray bottle, which, where are you, darling? You're right here. So I'm going to spray right on the paints so I can grab some of this color. I'm going to let that sit for a second. I do have, it's dirty. It's dirty paintbrush water, but I'm still going to wet with that because I'm trying to get color. So it's okay with me if a little bit of that blue comes through. In fact, why don't we just start with a blue? I'm going to put this aside. Let's grab a seriously pretty blue. This is from Jane Davenport, as you can see. Let's grab Spotted Charaxus. I don't know what that is. A Charax. No idea. Debbie says, same here. No Instagram for me. Debbie, I don't use it either. This isn't about patterns. This is just adding some color. I need it to be wetter than that. This really is sucking up that color. I'm just going to add, I'm literally smearing on some color. This is no rhyme or reason. Just smearing it on. Now these will take a hot minute to dry, so we'll just let them sit. That's why I picked so many different things. We can keep working in stages, right? I don't want it to necessarily look like brush strokes. So you can see, instead of doing brush strokes like this, I'm using the edge of the brush like this and just pushing that color around. Now these are papers that have not been treated with any gesso. So one thing, they curl. As soon as you wet them, they're going to curl up. Don't worry. Put them on something. Once it's completely dry, put it on something heavy and it will flatten. But it soaks up that color really, really fast. So you have to kind of work quickly. Okay. I'm going to wet these. I'm going to add some blue to these. I'm going to wet them a little bit. They're going to curl up a little, but it's going to help that color spread. All right, let's go with a different color. That was Spotted Charaxus. Let's try this silvery blue. And I'm just smearing. We're smearing. I say smearing because I don't want it to look, I want it to look like coffee stained. I don't want it to look like it has a brush stroke. I just want the color to be smattered on there, smeared on there. whatever the words are that you want to use. I make my own words up here. You guys know that about me. Just a spot of color here and there. Vicky says, I always like pastels and bright blue, but now I'm leaning toward vintage and grunge. Of course, I love browns, coppers, olives, anything nature hued. I do too, Vicky. I love those like warm nature colored tones. Now we can mix colors. You don't have to just stick with one color here. So, ooh, geez Louise. All right, I was grabbing that silvery blue it's called, but let me grab another color. The one next to it is called Blue Morpho. Holy buckets, that's dark. Did not mean for that. Now, the beauty of doing this and on another piece of paper is that you may end up underneath here with some really interesting paper with colors that you can use somehow else. You know, as a junk journaler, that's my love, finding ways to use what I have on hand. All right, let's grab I'm going to grab a totally different color scheme from this other palette. Let's go with a pink or a red or something like that and add a little bit of color on here. Let's go with, I don't know what this color is. Same brush. I'm not even cleaning the brush. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do this so I can see. Oh, it's like an orangey color. I like it. I like it. Let's put it on here. It kind of looks orangey. And wow, is that vibrant. Way more vibrant than I expected it. That's okay, right? Really random. I don't want this to look super organized. Okay, these I'm done with for sure. Like I can't, you don't want to add too much. Okay, this one, let's put a little smatter of this in a couple of places. Okay, let's pull these down and do the same thing. I'm digging this orange, so let's see what it looks like on this lighter colored paper. These I'm going to put all aside here in a minute and let them dry while we work on the other things. I really want that wet, so I kind of put a ton of water in that one square of color. I want it to look super organic. Now let's get down here with some color. Okay, good deal. We'll do some patterned transfer stencils later. I'm going to put this aside to dry. So what I like to do, hold on and I'll show you. I'm grabbing a tool here. Not a tool, but like something I have on hand, I keep on hand. We're big on these big, huge wall calendars in my house. That's how we keep track of everybody. The backing of these, the cardboard backing, make really good dry racks. I don't have dry racks in my craft space, but when I'm doing this kind of work, I lay out my wet stuff on this cardboard. The cardboard is able to soak up any drippies easily. I don't care. It would have been junk otherwise, so I just will put this aside on the floor, even in a nearby room, the next room, just on the floor, or in front of if I'm real lucky and organized, I'll put it in front of a fan on a table so it can dry while we start working on the next set to add some colors in. So I'm just going to put these aside. They are really handy to have. You have to be careful. You have to be careful because if you're kind of a hoarder, a lot of us have hoarding tendencies. Like as a junk journaler, I hoard things. I got that great care package from Wendy. Taylor sent me a great care package after my surgery. Several, like 6 servings of chili with bread bowl rolls, and it had a ladle in it. It was the sweetest care package, and it came with the prettiest packaging. And I saved it all because it's too gorgeous to just let go of. I'm a hoarder when it comes to packaging and a junk journaler, so I use the stuff that I grab, but it's easy to overrun your house with stuff. Does anybody find that if you're a junk journaler? You're loving these so much, right? Thank you, Miss Andrea. I appreciate you. Andrea, she says, oh my, oh me, hoarding paper and cardboard. It's so easy to do. Royce, hi, Royce. That's my sweet friend, Royce. I haven't seen you in a while, friend. And to be fair, I have not been live on the public pages in a while. I had major surgery on June 6th. I had a hysterectomy and some bladder repair. So I've been recovering. This is week 5. I'm almost at no, what's today? Thursday? Today is week 5. So every day is a little better. I have a little more energy. I have a little more stamina. So I'm happy to be getting live out with you guys and just reconnecting. I've been live throughout. I took about 2 weeks off, but then have been live regularly in my paid membership group and for Facebook subscribers, those who support the page with a $1.99 donation every month. But on the public page, I've been much quieter. Just had to be. I can only do so much. Oh, thanks, Royce. I appreciate you so much. There's my sweet friend Tammy. Hey, Tammy Meyer. I hope I get to see you tonight. I don't remember if you said yes or no to girls' night out here in Devil's Lake. Jenny, how are you? Teresa from Teresa's Silhouette Spot for Art. She's a creative friend and fellow business creative who was live in my membership group. I have a once a month guest go live in my membership group and share some crafty goodness, their own style. Because, I have a style, but I love to introduce the ladies to other creative. They're mostly women. It's not that I don't want to have men in my group, but they are mostly women, creative women who own their own creative businesses. And I love for those ladies to get in and get acquainted with the girls in the Craft Therapy Club and tell them who they are, what kind of creative endeavors they offer over on their business page, how to find them, when to find them live, or when to find, how to connect with them, their email. Like, I just like them to give them the chance to meet the ladies in my craft club, because ladies in my craft club are super talented and they really do like a diverse set of creative challenges. So I only do so much, and I love to get people who do other things in there to say, hey, I do this kind of creating. Like, I don't do any resin work. I do nothing with resin. So if I can find a creative friend who does resin, like I had Deb Brown in there once, like creating and crafting and doing resin, showing them something that I don't or can't do. Not that I can't, I just don't do it. I think it's such a good way to connect creative people and build community. So anyway, where was I going with that, girls? Where was I going with that? Oh, Ginny, I had Teresa in my group recently. She did a great wagon wheel painting with us a couple of months ago, and Ginny met her in there, and they realized, oh my gosh, we're from the same area on Long Island. So they met in person. Just, Jenny, was it a couple of nights ago? Teresa reached out to me and said, I met your Jenny. I met your girl from your craft club. It made me so happy. I'm in North Dakota. Those ladies are on Long Island. Didn't know each other before that guest spot that Teresa had in my group, and then they met at their local library in person while Teresa was having a class locally. Ginny went, oh, looks like I have 2 here. I didn't realize that. All right, let's do it. It's okay. It's okay. We will separate you 2 bad boys. You're like twinsies. Sorry. Oh, and both of them were ripped. I used my handmade tape for this one. And can you see I'm using really light metallic, see that shimmer? Just to add a little bit of color and shimmer to these. I will take this later since I've already gotten it a little bit wet. So let's just add, let's do purple. We haven't done any purple. I do like to try to use, if I'm mass producing, I'm mass working on these pages. I don't know what book they're going to go into. They're going to go into a book in the future. So I like to use, like, if I use orange on one, pink on another, purple on another, that way, this one has a little bit of green on it. That way, when I'm picking from these papers and I'm making a junk journal and I'm picking from them, I have lots of color options to choose from. I haven't used any green, so let's smatter some green on one of these. I do like to try to mix it up a little, so I have lots to choose from. Okay, so I put just a smattering of color. You see what I'm doing? You can do as much and make it really bold, or as little, make it really subtle as you want. Totally up to you. It's just about adding layers of color, texture, design, or pattern to the variety of papers that you have on hand for making your junk journals. So this is not, I was thinking about it, and I'll point it out. I mean, it'll be obvious when I point it out. but just as a point of thought, if this is not a finished project, right? We're just mass making or mass decorating coffee stained papers for use in future projects. This one is so fragile. These doilies get so fragile. I'm not going to layer it onto something else. I'm just going to put it by itself on this cardboard. So see, I'm just laying out the wet stuff on my cardboard, the back of my wall calendar that I saved. And I'll set these aside to dry. I actually do have my fan. I thought I had my fan in here. I do. I have this little portable wireless fan. I'm going to put it on low and put it close by to that cardboard so that it dries a little more quickly. It's just adding a little extra air to that. Okay, now let's go into the real, these are like actual papers. I don't know why I just cut a corner out of that, but I did. This already has, so this one doesn't really need to be done. It already has yellow, blue, and a little bit of copper spritz there. We're going to save that one for the Couture stencils. Here, these are very, this one is very one-dimensional. White piece of paper with a little coffee staining. White piece of paper with a little coffee staining. There's no patterns. There's no other colors. This one has a little bit of, like I said, that copper spray that I added. And it does have a pattern. I had laid down a big 12 by 12 stencil when I coffee stained this, and a little bit of that stencil design has come through. There on this side, it was like a little snake skin pattern. So this one has some pattern, but not a whole lot of color. So let's just wet these down and get some color on them. Actually, let's do these two and then I'll do the other two. Mary says, I love being a subscriber. Next month will be my 2-year anniversary of being a subscriber. Mary, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting my page, helping me do what I do and keep doing it. Your support of $1.99 a month, you and the other ladies who do that. First of all, we go live I go live once weekly just with subscribers. They have their own private hub where they get information from me and like kind of behind the scenes stuff a little bit. Just as an added thank you, I spend some weekly time with them. And it's not always creative time. A lot of times, like yesterday, I did create with you guys, but I was really chatty. We were chatting away about family stuff and faith stuff. And that was so enjoyable. It was just girl time. So thank you to Mary and all the other subscribers who, oh, this one's a really bold green. Let's see on here. That is bold. It's kind of a greenish, got a little blue tinge in it, but I like it. Can bleed that right over into the other page. Let's do a little up in this corner. So Mary, 2-year subscriber anniversary. Facebook does give you guys, those who are subscribers on Facebook, they have a little blue teal heart next to their name. And let me grab this blue. And when they make comments on my lives on Facebook, if it's just straight through Facebook, not through StreamYard like today, but straight through Facebook, they also get like these like cool, like their comments are kind of boosted a little bit. They've given extra special attention when it's their anniversary. So Mary, that'll be coming up for you. You'll have like a really special way that they showcase that you're an anniversary subscriber. And I love that they do that. And we're doing a challenge right now, Beach Babe challenge with some vintage Beach Babe photos. And that's just for subscribers. And depending on how many of them are participating, they share, I gave them 3 pages of Beach Babe photos to create with and a few parameters. And then once they share their project photo, each share that they do inside the free Craft Club, Crafty Chicks Club, they earn a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So now I went into this color that's kind of like a champagne-y looking color, and it's like the same color as the coffee dye, except it's shimmery because these watercolors are shimmery. So I'm grabbing some of these more neutral colors that are kind of like off-white. So it won't show necessarily a whole lot of color, but you can see the shimmer. cool, right? All right, let's set that one aside. These make some really fun, really, really fun and different looking, very unique. Nobody else is going to have these papers. Those of you, we love to buy our decorative papers as well. So if you're buying decorative patterned papers, you could still do this process to make your pages absolutely unique. Nobody else in the world is going to have papers just like these because they're just being handmade. Okay, I haven't used a lot of red. Red scares me. Red scares me, but we're going to use a little red on these. I don't use red a lot, but it is good to have a variety of things going on in your stash so that you have, you know, with the America, the beautiful stencil, red makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you don't have to. I've been doing this super willy-nilly and like saying it's organic. I don't want it to have a pattern, but really I could take that red and I'm running out of water there. We could make a pattern. Like what if we just did this and did this little corner of dots? We'll do 3 rows of dots in this corner. So that if I use this paper, fold it over like this in a junk journal, and when you flip the page, you have this little corner of patterned dots. So I've been doing mostly just willy-nilly scratches, markings on these, but you can be more organized about the way that you mark up your pages. They don't have to be just willy-nilly. I'm just going to put a little more red smeared here, more abstract looking. Still kind of random, but not so, it doesn't look like it was sprayed on. And now we're looking at what looks like to be paint marks, right? Paint strokes. And remember, this is just the base layer. When this goes into a junk journal and I start using the junk journal, I'm going to then come over and into this, and then I'll be decorating the pages, right? This isn't the final story. This is going to get decorated. I'm looking for, who took my gratitude? Who took my gratitude junk journal? Great, good gravy girls. I have to have a system. I had to give myself a system and I don't have it. Look at, oh, here it is. Here it is. It's underneath all my pages that were drying. So in here, okay, we have patterned paper. This was decorative pattern paper that I gave to as a benefit of being a Craft Therapy Club member. It was, I think, 13 pages of, I called it Lace and Grunge, and it has a few botanicals in it. Papers that I designed that you could print it out. They're all very neutral. Print it out, and then it can become the backdrop, the background of your junk journal papers, right? So I use that as my junk journal paper, but then like I'm creating on these junk journal pages, I'm collaging. So right over that backdrop, so that we still have pretty paper in the background, I'm collaging with papers and fabrics, and then I'm gratitude journaling in metallic ink, gel ink on, I usually do a 2-page spread, decorative one side, gratitude journaling on the other side. This hasn't been done. Here's some more of my coffee stained patterned papers. Here's one page. This was my birthday. That's my mom. So I decorated on this page, little keepsake photo of my mom. I journaled on this page, gratitude for my parents. So see, they're just the backdrop so that you don't have just plain white paper hanging out in the background. We like to use, I do anyway, I like to use very decorative pages or coffee stained pages. It's just more visually interesting to me. All right, so that gratitude journal, how to make it, was our November project in the Craft Therapy Club. And if you are if you just signed up as a member, all you have to do is go to that guide, that November guide, to find that workshop so that you can follow along with the videos, the templates, the supply list to make your own. Okay, if this is going to go in a book, then I'm going to make some more markings on this side just so they kind of are a little coordinated. These ones are close together. Same color. same thought. 3 rows of markings. These are far apart. These ones are close together. Just a little coordinated. Okay, we have one little piece left here. And then I'll get to my drying rack and start picking those to do some chalking on. I love how paper has a different crunchy feel after it's coffee dyed. Yes, and Andrea, thank you for pointing that out. It does give it a different texture, a different sound, a different feel to it. And so it kind of hits all the senses. It even gives it a smell, a coffee stained smell. If you've never been around coffee or tea stained paper, it has a smell. And you don't, I mean, some people use avocado. Avocado, I know avocados are green on the outside, green on the inside, but they actually give a pink tinge to paper when you use avocado to stain your papers. You can use beets. I've used beets, so you get pink paper again. Pink tinge to it. You don't have to just use coffee and tea. I just think they're the most commonly used. All right. A little bit of metallic sheen on some coffee stain paper. All right, let's put those aside. I'm going to clean up a little bit and then we're going to get to chalking. These are wet. And this, you can see the water in there. Very wet. Again, I'm going to leave this open off to the side on my table so that these can dry and then I can put them away. I'm just going to wipe up. There's excess water in these. There was a little brush that sat in that crevice right there. I'm just going to put these aside to dry. Somewhere off to the side, out of my way. I never even used these. These ones are really bold, and that's okay that I didn't use them because, like I said, they're really bold. Okay, this goes in my vat of brushes. This one is the only one that I didn't add anything to, so I guess I can start with this one in terms of chalking. And these are now wet, these pieces of paper, so I'm going to take them out of here. Put them off to the side. Now we just have our Couture cutting mat. Okay. Royce is asking, do I tea stain my doilies? I have used tea before to stain, but most often, Royce, I coffee stain. I like working with coffee. I think it's bolder and easier to use. It's easier to use. I have coffee every day. I don't have tea every day. So I just feel like it's easy to use. And you can use instant coffee. Most often I do a combination of both regular brewed coffee and add some instant coffee, the little granules that dissipate in the hot water, to coffee stain. So I do coffee staining most often. Who else? Oh, Andrea says she loves to coffee dye. Who else does it? Who else is coffee staining or tea dyeing either fabrics or papers? All right, Jenny's saying, yes, it was Tuesday night. I went off to see her. She's talking about Teresa. After she did an event at the library, I couldn't get a spot. It was sold out, so I went at the end. She apparently told the entire Exla about me. So when I walked in, they were happy to meet her Facebook friend. It is the funnest thing ever. I think it's the funnest thing ever. All right, let's start with America the Beautiful. Why not? We're going to use this. I'm going to fuzz the heck out of it, girls. So that's taking this fuzz cloth and just, this is a sticky transfer. So it like really, really sticks. Super sticky, especially when they're brand new. So fuzzing is just putting it on a cloth, cotton cloth. I would not use fleece or wool because I think it just comes off too much. But anything tight woven cotton, you're going to be getting a little bit of that fuzz. This is why we call it fuzzing. You're going to get a little bit of that cotton fuzz on the back of this. So it's going to make the transfer stickiness less sticky, less strong, because we don't want this. You can see a big piece of fuzz right there. You don't want this to stick so strongly to your paper that it tears the paper when you pull it up. And that has happened to me. So you want to fuzz this a whole heck of a lot. I might even add a little water and do the fuzzing thing again, which is going to do two things. It's going to dry that water and it's going to help pull up more of that fuzz. This has two sides to it, a nappy side and a really fine microfiber side. You can also use these cloths, as you can see that I have before, to wipe your chalkboards clean. They go in the wash. They're really handy that way. They're good size. Now, if you don't have a Couture cloth, doesn't matter. Use an old towel or rag. Use the jeans that you have on. Use your shirt. Use your hoodie. And just stick this on a whole bunch of times and keep fuzzing it. Keep getting it less sticky so it doesn't stick so much to your paper. Now you can, there's just so many variations of the ways that you can do this. This is still really, really sticky. If you're nervous about this tearing your paper, you could come in on your paper and use some of it's like a furniture wax. It's a clear furniture wax. Do I have it in here? Let's see, I have it close by, I'm sure I do. You could use what Couture sells as a surface wax. It will last you forever if you're only using it periodically, but it's just a wax that you can apply on with a cloth. I usually use a cloth, not my finger. You apply it onto your surface, and what that's going to do is it gives you a little layer of protection so that when you stick your sticky transfer on there, it doesn't adhere to the paper. There's something in between the paper and the sticky to really protect both your paper and your transfer. You can use the wax. The wax is a little labor intensive. And because I'm a lazy girl, I usually don't do it. But if you're nervous about things sticking, it's probably a good idea to put either the wax on here or some top coat of some kind to protect your paper. Again, man, I got a little visitor here off to the side. How are you, kiddo? I don't know. I'm just kind of hanging out. Maybe 15 minutes. Do you want food? I will. What are you going to make? He's offering me food, girls. Oh, no, I can't. I don't want that. Thank you. He's making grilled cheese. I'm not eating grilled cheese. So anyway, this has a little wax. It doesn't really show anything. It's very matte. It doesn't show that there's a wax on there, particularly if you do it well. If you don't put it, you don't want to, like, you can see, I'm not taking a huge, like, it's not like you're putting hand lotion on. I'm not taking a huge gop of that and putting it on. You want just a little film to cover your surface to protect it. It's not meant to be used a ton, okay? Not a lot of it, but it will protect that surface a little bit, okay? I don't intend on just putting this on here and doing the whole thing. That wasn't my intent. I intended to kind of do it a little here, a little there. This, does it have an up and does it have a down? It has frogs all over it. Some of them are positioned sideways. I think I would end up using this paper like this, right? So if I envision this going into a junk journal, I think I've folded this way. So think about that before you start chalking on the inside. If you have a preference for how this is positioned, if you want it positioned straight up and down. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I think I'm going to go this way with it, and I'm just going to do a little bit of it. I'm not going to push real hard because I don't want it to cling so much to my paper that it rips the paper. I'm going to push very softly, and we're just going to do some chalking. Now, I picked out neutral colors. I got black. That's too dark for me. I got some rosy. This is called Dear Diary, but it's like a really soft rosy pink, mauve pink. This one is called Ocean Mist. It's a really soft blue. And this one's champagne, but it's called Bubbly. It's like a champagne color, and it is a shimmer. I don't even know that I've used this one yet, have I? Oh, yes, I have. Okay, so I'm going to use this. Let's fix that. I had it off on its side, and that's why let's grab that and use it. Okay, I'm just going to do some of this champagne. It's going to be super, super subtle, and it's going to be a little shimmery. I think that'll be beautiful. I'm going to try to take up as much of that excess as possible because I want to try to reuse this stencil on a couple other things. I don't want to just use it once. I don't care if it comes out in its entirety or if it skips some spots because I'm not going for a perfect application. I'm going to put that off to the side so I can pick this up and show it to you. Oh my gosh, is that pretty? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love the scroll work, the really fine scroll work around the title of the song. So I'm going to do that. And then over here, I think I'm just going to put some of the music, not the title of the song, but I'll just like randomly in here in the center. I'm not even going to push down on that. Whoops. Did I get some? I did. I got a little paste on that. It's oozing out from the leakage. Oozing out off the side there. All right. I'm just going to do a random spot of some musical notes in the middle of this. Okay. Like in here. It's not going to have a particular shape. I'm just going to randomly put some music notes on this page, but not the full thing. I'm not going for a particular shape, I guess is what I'm saying. So it just looks really faint in the middle of my page. Do you see that? See how it's really subtle? This page will get decorated over. So this is just something so that in the background there's something peeking out that's real pretty. I think I will grab one other patterned stencil and do something over here. So this one, here's my backing. I'm just going to put it back on here. It's a little wet. It's okay. I can clean the backing off. I can clean the transfer off later. I'm just going to put that to the side and grab a different patterned transfer. Remember, I have the bricks. The bricks might be cool. They're big. Like, it's a big pattern for this kind of paper. Before I go in on that, I am going to fuzz a little bit more. It came out great, right? Hey, Cheryl, I'm so glad you love it. Remember when he made grilled cheese years ago? And oh my gosh, Debbie! Yeah, Gannon's he really does make a dang good grilled cheese sandwich. He's got it mastered by now. But yes, I was live a few years ago. Was I doing Couture too? I was live a few years ago, and the kids set off all the alarms. And I was like, man, I don't know if my kids are safe. I don't know. Give me a minute. I stepped away from the camera to go make sure like my house wasn't burning down. It was my child making grilled cheese sandwiches. That's why you have such a good memory. I forgot all about that. Okay, so see what we're doing here? Really subtle. I love this. This is good for me. I don't need to do anything more on this paper. It has decorative on this side and now some really fun, I guess I would call this like a mixed media activity. Mixed media meaning we're using all kinds of supplies. We have paper, we have some sprayed inks, we have the coffee staining, and then we're layering on top of that some watercolors. This particular one doesn't have watercolors, but watercolors, and then some Couture patterns to make some decorative papers for scrapbooking. Okay, I'm going to grab some of these. It's funny, these thicker ones actually feel more dry than the thin ones. The doilies and the coffee filters still feel pretty wet. Oh, it's where, I know what it is. It's where the fan was hitting. This is dry. I'm trying to grab the driest things that you can work on. This is drier. This is drier. Okay, that's dry. This one's still kind of damp. I'm gonna put it back in front of my fan. The trick is so that it doesn't blow away. I'm gonna put something heavy on it. Okay. This one, remember, this is the one that was layered. So let's get a little piece of tape on that before we do anything. Of course, we're going to use the pretty tape. Let's use a different color this time. And this one has a little bit of a sheen to it. How much bigger the piece do I need? Like about that, maybe? I don't know. I'm guesstimating. This one was a shiny tape. I used a combination of shiny tapes and matte tapes. So I'd have both to use. You feel like CC is how you found me, Couture. Can you believe it's been 7 years? So my 7-year anniversary is coming up. I joined in October, the year that the company started. Company is just celebrating its 7th year in business this month in July. And I joined Couture October that same year. So I'm coming up on my 7th anniversary as a Couture designer, which is amazing. Thank you to all of you who have been with me, like Debbie, through the years, chalking and creating. I did a lot of home decor. That's how the company was founded, home decor. Oh, I forgot I pulled out this camel color too. I'm going to open this one up. Oh, it's too dry. I don't think I'll be able to use it without reworking it. I'm going to wet it some and just put it off to the side and let that sit. I started out doing a lot of home decor because that's how the company started marketing what it offers. And then because I've moved more toward paper crafting, I have found ways to paper craft with chalk couture. So that has really been my focus for the last year, is sharing chalk couture designs that are paper crafted. Okay, I'm going to look for, this is, I think, too big of a pattern for these little pieces of paper. So I'm going to look for a different design among all the transfers that I picked. Let's see what else I can put on here. This one has a bunch of smaller squares to pick from. So let me pick one of these. I really love this one, and I can tell I've used it. So let me get that one out of there, and we'll use that one. I just think it's a really pretty pattern. Okay. That one leaves a lot of paste. Okay, so you can see where the teal is will be left the same color as your surface, your paper. So if it was a blackboard, then those teal spots will remain black. And then all of the parts that are see-through, where the mesh is, where you can see my fingers, that will be whatever color you choose. So I think I'm going to use a little bit of this Dear Diary and a little bit of the champagne so that I don't mess up my 2 pots of paste. I think what I'll do is take some of this paste and put it on my paint palette here. And then I'll take a new clean squeegee and grab some of this paste and put it down so I can mix the two, or do like a combination of the 2 colors, if that makes any sense. Let's put these aside. I've got the bubbly, I call it champagne, but it's called bubbly. And I have that Dear Diary, which is like a pinkish color. I'll just use this again. And that new transfer. Remember, I'm not going for the full design on here. I just want a little smattering of some patterns. So I'm just going to go right in the middle. So I'll have a little bit of pink, a little bit of champagne on here, and I'm just going to smear a little bit. That's my famous word. I'm smearing today. So some of it is combining to create a new color, and some of it is staying either pink or champagne bubbly. Just for something. And I have no idea how I'll end up using these. They may become tags, they may become pockets, they may become tuck spots. I don't know. If that's not what's important to me, what's important is just continuing to decorate them. I'm putting these off to the side to dry. Let's grab these. Now these are extremely dainty because they're so thin. Proceed with caution. I think because this already has some of that on there, I'll go on this side. Oh my gosh, I'm a little nervous. I'm just going to put this, I'm not even going to press it down. Just not. I'm going to grab more of the pink this time. Oh, I wanted it to kind of mix with the champagne to make a more, or the bubbly color, to make a lighter pink, but that's okay. The lace is extremely fragile, so you can tell, you can see I didn't chalk on the lacy part, just in the middle part. And I have kind of an ombre effect. I've got that pink here and the champagne color more here, and then that in-between space has a little bit of both colors. Interesting. It's just something interesting, something decorative, something creative, something artsy-fartsy for our junk journals. Okay, I'm not even going to reload. It still has a little bit on there. I'm gonna repeat a little bit more up here. I'm gonna dare to go over the lacy part a little bit. Let's see if we can do it without mucking too much up here. So I have still bubbly, pink. And then in here, I'm just kind of mixing the two a little bit. So instead of getting some pink, some champagne, I'm going to combine them. So it's kind of creating a softer pink color that's a little bit metallic. So I don't know how this is going to work. I'm not going to start pulling from here. I'm going to start pulling from the middle and go this way. Very, very, very gently. It worked. Yeah, these take a long time. I mean, when you think about it, you're putting a lot of love and effort into these. So if you guys, do any of you ever buy junk journals from other artists? I do. I like to have other creative people's junk journals on hand to just peruse and be inspired by and just ooh and ah over. I have a couple. I don't have a lot, but I have a couple. So when you're buying other people's junk journals, I auction some of mine off several times a year. Please keep in mind how much effort, how much time, how much love and care goes into all of the details of these journals. The amount of time that I'm taking for these like 8 pieces of paper, an hour and a half to decorate 8 pieces of paper seems ridiculous. I do it because of the joy of doing it. I absolutely love the creative part of that. It makes me so happy. I love teaching you guys or hopefully inspiring you guys to do the same. And so it's not, to me, it makes sense to do it because it's kind of like how my mind is wired. But I just point it out because just keep in mind, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It takes a lot of supplies. So a lot of investment in supplies and a lot of love and thought go into even just the pages. So don't be afraid when someone's charging $90 for a book or $100. I've seen books that are $400. Keep in mind, that means they have put a lot of time, energy, and supplies into that book and their own creative talent, which is unique, like a piece of artwork. So please don't balk at some of those prices. You may not be able to afford them, but I will promise you, if you're looking at junk journals, there's a range. Like I said, I've seen junk journals for $400, $600, and I've seen them for $30. So there's a huge range of prices on junk journals when you're buying completed journals. I love that. See, I love that it's missing here. It looks like an old, paper that you found in someone's attic that was, dripped on and stepped on for years. It looks like something that's really been loved and used. All right, I'm going to do another one of those. I'm going to go this way on this one. These probably won't end up in the same book, of course, right? They're not going to end up in the same journal. I have some leftover champagne and pink, so let me mix a little bit more over here and grab some of that up. I don't know what I'm going to get, but let's do it. I try to avoid this straight edge most of the time because I want it to look like really organic and randomly, maybe accidentally pressed into the paper. And if I have those straight edges, it doesn't look so much like an accident. It looks really manufactured. I grabbed all these colors with the intention of using a bunch of colors, but I'm really good with this. I feel like even though that's a pink, it is rather neutral. I mean, I have blue here, I have green here, I have a little bit of copper, I have the coffee stain color and the white paper. We have a lot of colors going on here, but I still feel like that's really neutral. Like in the background of a designed page, that isn't going to be competing with what's in the foreground. Oh, I love what you're saying, Royce. I'm going to put Royce's comment, if I can, up on the screen, if it'll let me. She's just pointing out that she loves making collage fodder. It's so therapeutic for me, even though it does take time. It is a time-consuming process, but that's the craft therapy part. That's why my membership group is called the Craft Therapy Club, because the creating and the crafting of things is not meant to be work. It's meant to be joy. It's meant to be soothing to your soul. It's meant to be your downtime, your me time, the thing that you can gravitate toward when you need a little relaxation. That's what it's meant to be from my perspective. Okay. And I invite all of you to just hang out with us regularly. Royce, please share the name of your business page. Royce has her own social media presence and her own membership group. We are in the same coaching group together. So that's how I think we met, Royce. I think, although I think I knew you before that, because I think you are you still doing, were you an IOD rep at one point, or are you still? Because my sister-in-law is too. And she also does Debbie's DIY paint. And I think that may be where I first found out about you. But now we're in the same coaching group. So Royce has her own community. She has a really beautiful line of decoupage papers. So if you love decoupaging, you'll want to hang out with Royce. You'll want to hang out with her. And she takes a very artistic approach. You know, we've had this conversation here about art versus craft. Are you an artist? Are you a crafter? Which is it? I don't think you have to pick necessarily. I hate to have anybody feel like they have to be defined. But some of us use the word, you know, I'm an artist. Some of us say we're crafters. Have you ever really thought about what's the difference? What's the difference? But I do feel like Royce has a lot of, and I hope you don't mind me, Royce. I'm just giving everybody my perspective on you. You still carry IOD. Please, please put your business link. I invite you as my friend and fellow coaching group sister. Please put your business link out there so the ladies can find you, or your link tree, or whatever link you want to share. Please do it, Royce. I really, really encourage you to do that as my friend. I think, Royce, you have such an artistic flair, creative flair. So in my mind, that's what this means. Okay, rather than taking somebody else's design and creating with it, that to me is more crafting. So say you do this. Say you take a junk journal, and from the cover to every page in between, you've printed a digital kit that you've purchased, and then you print it, you fold the papers, and you put it all together. That to me is crafted. It's taking somebody else's creative designs and creating something beautiful with them. It's crafted. You have not yet added any of your own creativity to it. You simply printed it out, folded it in half, sewed it together from somebody else's creative designs. Okay. That to me is crafting. Being creative is this process that I'm doing. Like, I am just layering onto plain tags or plain paper, all the things that I mentioned: the coffee dyeing, the stenciling, the spraying of inks, the chalk couture, my watercolor marks, but it's all unique and original to me. So that to me is creative. That is artistic. Royce is brilliant at that. Royce is really artistic, and her own line of decoupage papers and supplies are really quite beautiful. So please go check her out. Please go check her out if you want to check out an artist. Yes, Royce. I'm absolutely sure. Please, I'm really encouraging you to share. This is what I love to do, is to introduce the crafty chicks who hang out here with me to other creative artists, to other creators, other crafters. Even if you're more of a crafter versus an artistic creator, I don't think one is better than the other. I just think they're different. And that's why I have a live guest in my club every month, because I love to introduce you girls to each other. I love that Ginny, a member of my club and subscriber, a sweet friend and supporter here at the page, met Teresa, who's also in our coaching group, in my group, because she was a live guest. And then they met in person just this week, months later, because of that connection that they made with one another. It makes my heart so happy. It makes my heart so happy to forge those kind of creative friendships or acquaintances. They may not meet again. I don't know where that will take them, but I'm just happy to be the conduit, the person who introduced them. It's like, we're all over the country. I think of it this way a lot. We're all over the country, so we may not ever meet in person, but we still have a friendship, a virtual friendship, that eventually may become something that maybe you'll meet in person. but we would not have been friends if we didn't have this virtual option to connect. You know, if we didn't have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, where I've met you, most of you. I mean, Tammy and Paula are my girlfriends here in town. I've known them for 20 years, 25 years. But most of you I've only met briefly or partially. I hope you stick around and hang out with us forever, but you may not. You may just be dropping in for one little visit, and you're totally welcome, and I love that you're here. But those of you who support me on a regular, I love to help you meet other creatives who you can forge friendships with. Makes me so happy. So Royce, please share. Please share. I do. Oh my gosh, I love that. Little bit of brick right in the middle of that page. It is not even a full page. I don't care. It'll get used for something at some point. I grabbed it because it was in this collection of things. This one already has that on it, and it has leaves on that side, so I'm leaving it. I'm not going to add anything more. I got this page that I added those markings to, but there's nothing really on this side. So those watercolor markings have dried. So I'm going to flip it over while we're at it. Let's put a little smudge of something on these three. Well, this one has some stenciling. That one I'm going to leave alone. I think it has plenty on it as it is. My other three pieces of paper over there are still wet. So I'm just going to leave them be for a few minutes. I have plenty of paste on there to smudge around here. Smudged all my grace terms. They're just like, I make them up as I go. I'm smudging it on. I want some more champagne. Just going to grab a little bit. Oh, got a lot bit. I don't want it to look I don't want it to look like a stamp. I want it to look like it accidentally landed there somehow. Not be completely, like, not full. And I might skip some spots, and I don't want to have straight edges ever, where you can see this straight line here. I don't ever want to see that. I think I'm going to turn this way and do a little bit going this way. This one got just very little, but I like the markings. I'm going to leave that one. And then this one I'm going to do some more. I'm just going to use this paste up. It's all I have left. And the other 3 pages that I had set aside to work on today, those 3 it's a doily and 2 coffee filters. They're still very wet. They're sitting in front of the fan, but they're just not letting go of that water. So I'm just going to leave them there to dry rather than making you wait to watch me do them. Let's see what this looks like. I do have just a little bit more paste. I have just a little bit more paste on here that I wouldn't mind using up. You know, you don't always have to smush it through a stencil. What if we just take it and smear it on here in some random way? Right? Let's just use it. I hate to just throw it out. That's me. I'm kind of a frugal fanny that way. The frugal fanny of the world. All right. I just smeared it on. Same color. Instead of putting just, you know, like throwing up more brick on there, I just smeared the color so I wouldn't have to throw it out. I couldn't put it back in this champagne pot, the bubbly, and I couldn't put it back in Dear Diary because it was a mix of the both of them. So I have a little on that side too. I'm just smearing it randomly on there. These go in with my paintbrushes. It'll keep them wet. This is water soluble, so it's really easy to get off the silicone tool. It's really easy to get off anything porous, but it's a lot easier if it stays wet. Once it dries, you're going to have to soak it for a while to get it off there. I'm just going to clean the threads of this. Do you see how that got in the threads of this cover? I don't like to waste, but I am going to clean that off so that this doesn't get stuck closed. Now I have all that sitting there. Gosh, you know, I hate to waste. Hold on, Grace. I'm not wasting it. We're not doing it, girls. We're going to smear it on that coffee stained, half wet coffee filter. All right, it's all off. All right, let me show you. I'm going to cover this up, and then I'm going to pull some of those papers and show you the variety of what we got here. I didn't use all my colors. I'm okay with that. Let's see who else is here. Royce, isn't it? It's such an interesting. Okay. I'm gonna show them your link here in a second. She says, my family always teases me about my Facebook my Facebook friends, it's the same thing. I've known these ladies for years, and they've been with me, supporting me for years. So they are absolutely friends and family, but we've never met in person, some of them. Okay, Royce, there's her link. There's her link, facebook.com/Roy Cycled. Get it? Roy Cycled. I love the pun. I love the play on the letters there. Go visit her. Please go visit my friend. I'm so glad you hung out with us today, Royce. I really do appreciate you hanging out with us. All right, I think I pinned that so you guys can find it easier. I hope I did. Kitty, hello. You're always so positive and cheerful. I love it. I learn every time I watch you, and not just art. Kitty, thanks for saying so, my friend. Thank you for saying so. Let me show. We're going to do a little showcase. We're going to do a little showcase of some of the smattering of what we did today. I really only ended up using 3 patterned transfer designs. This one I didn't end up doing anything to it. It had a lot on there already. I used 3 pattern designs, a little bit of shimmer paste and a little bit of matte paste. And I have all these super unique. Okay, it ranges from plain paper. This is plain paper that has been layered upon layered upon layered and created on. It's like a creative outlet that you can just put down whatever your heart wants to put down while you're playing with your supplies. This is a great practice to do. It helps you to learn your supplies, learn what they do, what they can't do, like what their limitations are. It helps build your confidence with your supplies so that every time you approach a project, you know what this does and what it doesn't do. So you know how to apply it. So it's a really good practice. It's just good for the soul. It's just fun. It's plain old fun. I've got some time cards with some inks, coffee stained stencils, chalk couture designs. I've got some doilies that are lovingly taped back together with some metallic smears of watercolor, metallic chalk paste, and matte chalk paste. And then this, I love this too. This is just a regular piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. I know some of you have stashes of this, oodles and oodles and oodles of scrapbook paper that you're not using. When it's a particular, like, I'm like, I don't know, where am I going to put this? I don't really do a whole lot of themed junk journals. Mine are really eclectic, like a smattering of this and that. I rarely do, like I did a fairy journal once and it was all fairy themed. I did a Beach Babe chalk couture journal once and it was all Beach Babe themed. But it's rare that I do that. Most often I just mix things here and there. And the beauty of that is, like a frog paper. What the heck would I do in a frog paper? Doesn't matter. It can go in any journal I want it to go into. And now it has this gorgeousness on this side. I think this is my favorite piece. So it takes a piece of decorative scrapbook paper that I probably wouldn't have picked otherwise. And now it like makes it so much more unique and special on its own. It makes me excited to want to use that in a book or in a project. It doesn't have to be a junk journal. It can be a mixed media project. It can be a collage project, a painted project. My Halloween journal, I forgot about that one. Michelle Maidlow grabbed that Halloween journal. It was a Mother Goose book that I turned into a Halloween journal. It took months, and she grabbed it in an auction and lovingly, lovingly displayed it on her front. She said on her front, she had a table right at Halloween time, right as she walked through her door. She had this like little console table, and she said she proudly displayed it there. So yes, I loved that book, but I don't have it anymore. Someone else is loving it. Hello, Miss Nancy from Arkansas. Welcome, welcome. New friend. We love having you here. Oh, Debbie, please do. She says, I got to get my booty back in the club. She's talking about the craft therapy club. She says, I miss you. Debbie, I miss you too. Please come join us. I kind of, although I have a wait list of people and I invite them periodically, those who are waiting to get in the group. Right now, the group is just open. Like, you can just join if you want the link. Just let me know in the comments and I can shoot you the link to join. It's $15 a month and we create very regularly, but we also have a ton of organized swaps. We did the craft box relay. Right now we're doing junk journals on a journey in small groups where we have groups of 4 and 5 ladies doing the junk journal on a journey together. I do bingo for prizes. We do creative bingo every month. That's something different than bingo. We have all kinds of stuff to go. Yes, it's open right now. You can, I'm not really, I didn't really, yes, I would just say I didn't really close it. The link is there and it's open. It's just really hard to find. So if you want it, just let me know and I'll get it to you. I have a new way of getting people enrolled, Debbie. It's a different site. So that is pretty much a hidden link, but I will absolutely share it if you want it. Andrea says, I love the tag and the brick pattern is really fun. Isn't it cool? I mean, it's just small. You can apply that to anything, right? You can just keep applying it. If you wanted it to be linear, you could make it linear and straight. I don't usually use it that way. I just kind of smatter it on there. You're welcome, Miss Royce. All right, girls. Hey, Karma, I see you now. I'm sorry I didn't say hello. I didn't see you earlier. All right, girls. Here is Royce's link again. You'll find it in the comments. I will send you the link, Debbie. I'll send you a private message when we're done. But if anybody else is coming afterwards, doesn't matter if you're Instagram, YouTube, or on Facebook. If you want that link, just let me know in the comments or send me a quick IM instant message or direct message or Facebook message, however you want to get a hold of me. All right, girls, I got to go. My kid's waiting for me to chat. He just got up while we were live. He just woke up for the day, so I'm going to go visit with him. I appreciate your company here. You guys, go make something pretty that brings your heart joy. I love you all.